Let the cosmic power work wonders for you. The cosmic law of your mind is an impersonal regulation and is no respecter of persons. When you put into simple words, the law indicates that what you think you create, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you become. The law of mathematics, chemistry, physics, and electricity are equally impersonal and no respecter of persons. If you do not understand the laws of electricity regarding its conductivity, insulation, and the fact that it flows from higher to lower potential, you could easily electrocute yourself. In other words, it is dangerous to meddle with forces you do not understand. The same rules would apply to the laws of chemistry. You should learn about atomic weights, the powers of valence, and the laws of attraction and repulsion. And as you make a deep study of organic and inorganic chemicals, you would be able to blend marvelous compounds and bring forth new discoveries which would bless humanity in countless ways. If you make a mistake, in addition, you will experience the result of that error. Action and reaction are universal characteristics throughout all nature. Another way of stating this is to point out that any thought you feel is true is impressed on your subconscious mind, the law, and your subconscious expresses whatever is impressed upon it, good, bad, or indifferent. If you think good, good follows. If you think evil, evil follows. For example, if you are opening a new business today, begin with faith and confidence that success is yours because you were born to succeed. Claim that the wisdom, power, and intelligence of God are moving on your behalf, and the reaction will be that you will become a tremendous success, and your business will go ahead by leaps and bounds. The law is that the beginning and the end are the same. You begin with the attitude of confidence, and your vision was on success, triumph, and accomplishment, and you experience the automatic and mathematical response of the law, as the reaction is always the exact reproduction of your conscious thought and feeling. How a wife reclaimed her husband's love. A woman complained to me that after 20 years of a happy marriage, her husband had gone astray. During our conferences, she mentioned that some months previously she had visited his office and had seen his new secretary, a beautiful blonde, who was graceful, charming, and seductive. She admitted feeling pangs of jealousy and fear. I asked her if she had been fearing and picturing her husband as being interested in the girl, and she said yes. I elaborated on what she was doing and explained to her that her thoughts and the mental imagery of her husband's strain had been conveyed subconsciously to her husband, and they were impressed also on her subconscious mind, as there is only one subjective mind, and what she feared most inevitably must come upon her. The intensity of her thought and mental pictures were so strong that she actually accelerated her unfortunate marital condition. She had been using the law of her mind in a very negative way, and she had experienced the corresponding result. Consequently, at my suggestion, she talked over the whole situation with her husband and told him what she had been doing mentally. He in turn admitted his infidelity and decided to give up the other woman, and the bonds of love with God's blessing united him again. Her husband had known nothing about the laws of the mind, but he is now studying the power of your subconscious mind and applying it assiduously in everyday life. Her success came from using the following scientifically worded prayer night and morning. I know that my husband is receptive to my constructive thought and imagery. I feel, claim, and know that at the center of his being is peace. My husband is divinely guided in all ways. He is the channel for the divine. God's cosmic law fills his mind and heart. There are harmony, peace, love, and understanding between us. I picture him as happy, healthy, joyous, loving, and prosperous. I surround and enfold him with the cosmic circle of God's love, which is impregnable, impervious, and invulnerable to all negation. Following the constructive use of the cosmic law, her mind ceased in turmoil and resumed its natural state of peace, and the sacred bonds of marriage now reign supreme between husband and wife. He said, "This is my 5th divorce. What's wrong?" A man apparently in a state of desperation asked me to throw light upon his marital problems because, as he said, I have married 5 times successfully, hoping to get a good wife, and now I want a divorce from my present wife. I thereupon emphasized the cosmic law of mind and pointed out that the law of his mind is absolutely just and eminently fair in its manifestation. That is, it is the nature of an apple seed to bring forth an apple tree. Likewise, it is the law of life that man invariably and inevitably reproduce in all phases of his life the exact duplicate of his inner nature. As within, so without. As in heaven, so on earth. I believe I cleared up the obscurities in his mind through clarification on the way his thoughts and feelings operate in his life. He came to perceive clearly that it is impossible for a man to think, feel, and believe one thing, and then to experience something other than what he thinks and feels to be true. I told him that if you picture failure and feel yourself defeated, you can't possibly express success and triumph over obstacles. The law is considered not only good, but very good, because your experience dovetail and correlate with your inner attitude and belief. He said to me, I see now that divorce is not the answer, as it would be no solution for me as long as I continue the patterns of jealousy, fear, anger, and possessiveness. I must change myself. I have been accusing my wife falsely, and now I know that my imputation of wrongdoing and recriminations were projections of my own guilt, fear, and insecurity. He had come to a wise decision, because he could have divorced his present wife and married another, but he would have repeated the same dreary pattern of jealousy, accusation, self-pity, depression, and suppressed rage. He began to affirm frequently during the day, I know I cannot think of two things at the same time. I know that some two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. I can't have thoughts of love and resentment at the same time. Whenever I think of my wife, I state positively, God's love fills her soul. I radiate peace, harmony, and goodwill to her. Our marriage is a spiritual union. I am one with God and with all people. I know I can make my wife's love full, complete, and wonderful. Only that which belongs to love, truth, and wholeness can enter our experience. His wife really didn't want a divorce, but she was tired of his false allegations and invectives. She was delighted to hear that he had become interested in the science of his mind and was enraptured over spiritual transformation. They are both using the law now in the right way. Why a manuscript was not published. I interviewed a man in Hawaii last year who showed me a manuscript which I read and was very impressed with. However, he received 12 rejection notices from various publishing houses. Now this was the perfect working of the law of his mind, as our success or failure or soundness of body of our afflictions are the exact manifestations of our states of consciousness, which is the way we think, feel, believe, and whatever we give mental consent to. This man had a picture of rejection in his mind. His thought was action, and his experience was the reaction. The action and the reaction corresponded. He reversed his mental attitude and affirmed boldly, Infinite cosmic intelligence reveals to me the ideal publisher who will accept my manuscript, publish it, and promote it in divine order. I accept this idea completely in my mind. I know that my mind is like my motion picture projector. If I don't like the picture reflected on the screen, I can change the film and project a new scene. Likewise, I know that the contents of my mentality are always dramatized and portrayed in my objective world. I know that my thought and feeling predict my future. I now enthrone in my mind constructive thoughts of harmony, divine guidance, and right action. I am conscious of my true worth. And I have a deep, abiding respect for the divinity within which shapes my end. I know that the infinite intelligence of my subconscious mind responds to my habitual thinking. And whenever fear thoughts come into my mind, I claim silently, it is God in action in all phases of life, bringing all my desires to pass at the right time and in the right way. Following this cosmic reordering of his mind, he was guided to find a publishing house which accepted and published his manuscript, and it is a big success. He is now writing his second book. She believed the cards were stacked against her happiness. I had an interesting interview with a woman in Los Angeles. She was present at a lecture I gave on the amazing laws of cosmic mind power at the Wilshire Ilbel Theater. She said my life seemed to be predetermined by fate. I seemed to be under a fixed sentence by which the order of things is prescribed, like the stacking of a deck of cards. In the past 4 years, I have been engaged to 4 men, and each one of them has met an untimely death just prior to the marriage ceremony. I asked her if she had ever read or heard of Ralph Waldo Emerson's definition of fate, and her answer was no. He, man, thinks his fate alien because the copula, or link of connection, is hidden. But the soul, or subconscious mind, contains the event that shall befall it, for the event is only the actualization of its thought, and what we pray to ourselves for is always granted. The event is the print on your form. It fits you like your skin. I explained to her that what she is within herself in terms of training, conditioning, theological concepts, emotional acceptance, thoughts, feelings, and beliefs determines her conditions, experience, and events. That her subconscious mind is always reproducing her habitual thinking and beliefs, and that in order to change her life, she would have to change her thoughts and keep them changed. I elaborated on the fact that, after all, she did not control the lives of other men and women, and that if her fiancé, acquaintances, mother and father, or friends die, or suddenly pass on to the next dimension of life by an accident or by another tragedy, she was not to blame, as each person demonstrates and manifests his own state of consciousness. Actually, she had been constantly fearing, consciously and subconsciously, that whatever man she would attract would meet the same fate as her first fiancé. She said to me, "I knew it would happen each time. It's kismet." She began to comprehend the law of her mind and that which she had been doing to herself. Job truly said, "The thing which I greatly feared is come upon me." This motion or action of her mind had taken away from her the sense of happiness, well-being, and fulfillment of her dreams, and she had attracted men whose consciousness had reached the point of transition to the next dimension of life. She reversed her mental attitude and affirmed boldly, "I know that two unlike things repel each other. I walk and talk with God, and I believe that God is guiding me, and that the law of harmony is always governing me. I know that discord and harmony do not dwell together. I know that I can't cry and laugh at the same time. I know that when I claim, feel, and believe that God loves me and cares for me, and that He guides and directs me. I can't be on a train that is wrecked because divine law and order govern my life. Likewise, as I walk in the light of God's love, knowing that I am attracting a wonderful man who harmonizes with me perfectly, spiritually, mentally, and physically, I know the law responds accordingly. Having met him within, I must meet him in the without, for this is the law of my mind. I know it is accomplished in the divine mind now. At the end of a few weeks of meditating with cosmic power along the above lines, she met a dentist who subsequently proposed to her, and I had the joy and pleasure of performing the marriage ceremony. She had replaced her fear with faith and confidence, and she had discovered that wonders happen when you use the cosmic law righteously. He prayed and worked hard but didn't prosper. A young executive complained that he regularly prayed using a formula in Your Infinite Power to Be Rich, and that he believed what it said, but he got no results. This young man's trouble was that he was stealing from himself. He admitted to me that he was envious of one of his associates' promotion and increased salary, and he also coveted the boss's immense wealth, mental acumen, and sagacity. He listened avidly as I informed him about the cosmic law that no one can break. Cosmic law is an infallible, immutable, changeless, and eternal law within man's heart or subconscious mind. Every thought is the beginning of action and tends to manifest itself, evoking a corresponding reaction from the subconscious mind. The Bible says in the 20th chapter of Exodus, "Thou shalt not covet," which means that in this case he was envious, inordinately and wrongfully, on that which belonged to others. This was a mood of loss, lack and limitation within himself, and according to the law it attracted more loss, such as the loss of prestige, vitality, and promotion, and in general he was impoverishing himself. I pointed out to him that he could attain nothing in life without establishing the mental equivalent in his mentality, and that there is no such thing as a free lunch or something for nothing, but that he must claim, feel, and mentally accept his good to the point of his own conviction, and only then will his good automatically follow. He realized that he had been stealing from himself wealth, health, peace, and prosperity by his own thoughts of envy, jealousy, and covetousness. His thoughts were correspondingly made manifest in his job, his pocketbook, and all phases of his life. Joyful satisfaction came to him as he prayed regularly, systematically, and judiciously in the following manner. I sincerely wish success, happiness, peace, wealth, and prosperity for all my associates and for all men everywhere. I rejoice in their promotion, success, and advancement. I now dwell on the omnipresence and omnication of God. I know that this infinite cosmic wisdom guides the planets on their courses. I know the same divine intelligence governs and directs all my affairs. I claim and believe that divine understanding is mine at all times. I know that all my activities are controlled by this indwelling cosmic presence. God's wisdom, truth, and beauty are being expressed in me at all times. The all-knowing one within me knows what to do and how to do it with cosmic power. My business or profession is completely controlled, governed, and directed by it. Divine guidance is mine. Whenever the thought of envy, jealousy, or covetousness came to his mind, he affirmed, "I wish for him or her all the blessings of life." After a while, the negative thoughts lost their momentum, and he reconditioned his mind to let cosmic power work for him. He has since won a marvelous promotion. He wanted to outlaw war by passing a law. While I was giving a series of lectures recently in Palm Springs, a man in the hotel where I was staying asked me to sign a paper outlining war. He said that he had 20,000 signatures so far, and that he expected to obtain millions of signatures, that he was going to submit them to Congress and insist that they pass a law outlining war and influence other nations to do the same. All this, so much balderdash and fodderall. In our conversation, I explained to him that men could sign all the documents for peace in every parliament in the world, and it would be of no avail. History shows and proves that many governmental decrees and formal agreements and pledges for peace have been signed by numerous nations, but often before the ink wherewith they were written could dry, they were broken. Parliaments and legislators of the world cannot legislate peace, harmony, security, abundance, or love of neighbor. All these are ordained and legislated in the minds and hearts of men. Peace begins with the individual, and if a man has peace within himself, he will be at peace with his wife, his friends and associates, as well as with all the world. If a man is full of anger, resentment, hostility, and suppressed rage, he is at war with himself and his world. A nation is an aggregation of individuals. Therefore, the only place to write legislation for peace is by the individual turning on the God of peace within himself and feeling the river of peace, love, harmony, and joy flowing through him. Furthermore, when man realizes that he can go to the infinite mind within himself and there claim and feel what he wants to be, to do and to have, the infinite intelligence will respond accordingly, and he will discover that he can have what he wants without hurting a hair on a living being. Furthermore, I added that war is caused by fear, hate, greed, revenge, anger, and the lust of men, and this is why man's inhumanity of man makes countless thousand mourn. Why doesn't God stop wars if God is love? This is another question propounded at one of my lectures. One woman said, if God is love, and if he is all good and all wise, why doesn't he stop war, crime, murder, and rapine? Why does he permit thousands and millions of children to die of hunger and countless others to become crippled and maimed by the ravages of war? She seemed to be angry at God. The answer is very simple. God is the universal being, the cosmic power, the supreme and infinite intelligence working on a cosmic scale or from the standpoint of the universal. The law, simply stated, is that the universal can only act on the plane of the particular or individual by becoming the individual. In other words, God rules the world and acts solely on the cosmic plane, moving as unity, harmony, rhythm, order, beauty, and proportion. The only way God can work through you is through your thought, feeling, and mental imagery. You have volition, choice, and initiative. You have freedom to become a murderer or a holy man. Otherwise, you would not be an individual. You are not compelled to be good or holy. You have freedom to choose harmony, peace, joy, love, abundance, and all the blessings of life. You are not compelled to love your husband or wife. You said, I choose him or her from all the others in the world. Choose you this day whom you will serve. Joshua 24:15. As long as man remains emotionally immature, and while he harbors resentment, ill will, jealousy, hate, and anger, he is at war with himself and with others. Multiply the one man and you have a nation. The law of God governs the individual, the nation, and the world. God can't stop wars, crime, disease, discord, and accident. All judgment is given to the Son, which means your mind. You judge yourself by the way you think. You are the one to initiate peace in your own mind and heart, and then your world will be at peace. There is no one to change but yourself. Start now. Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things. Philippians 4:8. And as you do this, your whole world will magically melt into the image and likeness of your concept of yourself, and your desert will rejoice and blossom as the rose. This indeed is letting cosmic power work wonders for you. Chapter summary. The cosmic law of your mind is impersonal and is no respecter of persons. You cannot break the law, for it is written in your heart and inscribed in the inward parts of your being. The law is that which you think you create, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you become. The laws of mathematics, physics, chemistries, and electricities are no different from the laws operating in your own mind. If you misuse or misdirect the principles of electricity, you will get into trouble. If you misuse or misdirect your mind by negative thinking, you will also get into trouble. Action and reaction are universal throughout all nature. Your thought is action, and the reaction is the response of your subconsciousness to your thought life. Thought and its manifestations are one. You can't think one thing and produce another. Your thought and your experience are one. A wife who pictures her husband as being unfaithful and who constantly thinks along these lines may literally experience what she fears, thus fulfilling the law of her mind, and what she fears most comes upon her. You can't express success, achievement, and victory by having a mental picture of failure. Your image of failure will be executed on the screen of space. Two objects can't occupy the same space at the same time. Likewise, you can't think of success and failure at the same time. Think success and focus the lens of your mind on success and all the reasons why you can succeed, and you will succeed. If you have a mental image of rejection in your mind, you will experience the same. As within, so without. The cards are not stacked against you. Your thought and feeling create your own destiny. Your future is your present thinking made manifest with cosmic power. Two unlike things repel each other. If you believe that God is guiding you, and that the law of harmony is always governing you, you can't be hurt on the conveyance that gets wrecked. To be envious and covetous of others is to impoverish yourself and attract to you lack and limitation of all kinds. No government or parliament can legislate peace, harmony, love, prosperity, or security. These are ordained in the minds and hearts of all individuals as they tune in on the source of cosmic power. God can't outlaw war, crime, or sickness because God is universal mind, the cosmic being operating on the plane of the universal only. And God works and functions through your thoughts, feelings, and imagery. God is not a man. God is cosmic and universal spirit. You are an individualized expression of God. You have volition, choice, and initiative, and also the inner knowledge of using the cosmic power ever available for your supreme good in all things.